Hey campers, I'm Mikey, and this is
Smiley.
And we are Smiles for Miles RV Life. We have been super busy here at Smiley HQ. Our last video included an update of 3 or 4 different things that have been going on. Since then, I've done some maintenance and we've done some cleaning. And we've also both come down with whatever it is that we're feeling right now.
Yeah.
Hence my voice. It's slightly deeper than it normally is. Go back and check out the other videos and you'll see what I mean. First things first, we're going to show you what we upgraded on the truck in order to bring the little teardrop home. It did need, the teardrop itself came with disc brakes that were, that needed a brake controller. So I had to install one of those in the truck. Luckily, the truck came with a tow package, so it was pretty doggone easy. I'll walk you through that process in a minute. Then, I had to figure out what was wrong with propane problems. I did realize it was a regulator problem, which is a super easy fix, but as you'll see, took some time. I also ran through the batteries and realized that it pretty much only runs one thing. So we still need to be hooked up to a power source in order to run our AC and lights and such. While I was out fixing or grabbing the things for the regulator, I realized that I needed to fix something on the Jeep as well. We ran through some maintenance on the truck too. So all those things are going to be in this video. With that said, since we're super busy and I'm gone back to work, we're going to be putting out content as we can do. Time constraints are time constraints and I can only do so many things. But we will be putting out content for you to view, enjoy. Speaking of enjoyment,
Please subscribe.
like our videos, subscribe to our content. It helps the channel. Believe it or not, it does. It helps the channel. And hopefully we'll be popping around here for another year, maybe 2, maybe 5. Who knows? But this is our content to take it from the house that we're living in all the way out to living full time in a large RV. Not just this tiny guy, but the large RV. So stay tuned, we're coming right back. This here is our new brake controller. I put it in pretty much the same day that we picked up the teardrop. And it's a simple installation. I went ahead and got this and the wiring harness off of Amazon. This comes with a wiring harness, just a general one that you have to wire up yourself. Or you can purchase a wiring harness specific to your vehicle, which is what I ended up doing because it came with a tow package. I didn't have to wire anything or solder anything or anything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take you up underneath the dash here. All right, so underneath this dash, you'll see this wire right here. This wire goes all the way across and into the back of the unit. And this is literally a factory-made harness, and it plugs right up. I don't know if you can see it really well. Right up into, let me try to get it to you. It plugs right up into here. So there we are, right there. So here's the wire, and it plugs right into that area right there. This truck, when you purchase it, it comes with something inside it. It's just like a little placeholder. You go ahead and take that out, and you just install this right how it is. That's all it is. Super easy. The hardest part was just deciding on where to put the controller itself. So mainly because you do have to screw it into place. So this is just the holder, and this is the controller itself. And it's pretty easy to install. It's super easy to use. You go ahead and set it when you turn it on, when you're in tow mode, and you set the brakes up to brake on their own when you hit your brake. And that's pretty much it. All right, that's the brake controller.
All right, here's the engine bay. There's your oil dipstick, that yellow right there. Then over here, that right there is your oil in. So you put all the oil that you're going to put in the engine right in there. Okay. Okay, so I completely robbed you guys of all of the filming because I forgot to push the button. And that's on me, that's my bad, sorry. But here you can see that blue filter right there, that blue item right there. That is the oil filter that I have replaced, because this was the old one right here. Okay, and then of course also around the corner here, this here is the drain nut, and you take that out slowly before the oil starts pouring out. You put your oil pan, whoa, sorry folks, you put your oil pan underneath that, let the oil splash in there, it collects all the oil, and then you put it back when it's empty. You put that back in there when it's empty, and then you exchange your oil filters. And then after all of that, which takes about 15 minutes, it's not very long, you put the oil back in the engine. All right folks, so here is where we put the oil in that funnel right there, and here it goes. Okay, very good. And we're all done. All right, that was the last quart. This particular engine takes 8 quarts of oil. So there's that. I figure you wouldn't want to see all 8 go down, but if you do, put it in the comments and I'll do it next time. How about that? Now, you start the engine after you cap all of this. Okay. And you run the engine for a couple of minutes. There goes my water bottle. So we'll put this cover back on the oil reservoir there. And then I'm gonna go and start the engine. Make sure that's stable, okay. All right, so we're gonna let that run for a couple minutes, and then we're gonna check the level of the oil to make sure we're not under or over the specs.
Hey everybody, it seems as though I have lost the audio on this particular piece. So right here, we're gonna show you how to replace the actuator in the vent roof fan on the RV. It was made of plastic and it broke. Pointing at the arms right now, disassembling the arms from the roof lid. This is what automatically opens when you turn on the fan. It comes with 2 little bumpers. One just fell there. There you go. You want to take those off or they'll fall into the fan and you'll have a hard time. Now I'm disassembling the arms from the actuator and from the unit itself. That sprocket right there actually goes into the actuator, which is run by a motor. And now we're unscrewing the actuator from the fan housing. This will show you exactly how broken it all was. This is something you don't need a screw gun or a motorized screwing device, I guess you could call it, because everything is just, you know, hand tight. It's no big deal. As you can see, I'm doing it all with one hand there. So here's the original actuator, and it's in multiple pieces. It's actually inside the fan a little bit. Here I am cleaning up after it a little bit. And now it's time to start installing the new actuator. After I fidget with this camera a little bit to give you a little bit better, hopefully, of an angle. One thing I did find out about putting in a new actuator is that you have to align the area where the arm sits, which is what I'm showing you right now. You have to align that area horizontally and parallel with the base of the actuator. If you don't, it won't be aligned when you want to open and close, and it'll be harder for it, and you might actually break the arm because the arm is plastic and this is aluminum. So that is set in place. We're not going to screw it in yet because we always like to dry fit things. And here I am struggling a little bit because I forgot that you have to actually align it with in the closed position rather than the open position. So I'm trying it in the open position right now, and then you'll see it just kind of doesn't work out very well. I've moved on from the open position. Now we're in the closed position with the arms down. And now you're going to find out that the screws that came with the new actuator don't fit the holes of the old actuator. So I'm going to have to go back to the screws of the old actuator, which is why I keep everything that I do when I'm in the middle of a project. Once again, we'll go ahead and tighten things down by hand. You don't need anything electric to screw this stuff down with. And now I'm going back to the old screws right here. And look at that, they just work perfectly. And now we're about to reattach the little bumpers and reattach the housing or the lid, and we will be done with this project. Once again, if you like our content, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. It really does help the channel. We appreciate you all. Alright, we have tested the fan, it still works. And now that the lid is up, I can reattach the arms to the lid itself. And here we are. It's all finished, folks. And here we are with the regulator. Take 1. This is the episode where I find out that the screws that I had did not in fact fit the new regulator. So I had to go back to the store and grab some smaller screws. In the meantime, we'll describe what we're doing here. We've already taken the old regulator out, and here is the new one. You want to make sure that the vent is on the bottom of this horizontal regulator. And here I am fitting it to the actual bracket, or at least trying to, and finding out that the screws don't fit. And here we are, struggling, and now we realize that the screws won't fit and we have to go to the store.
Okay folks, so you remember I was talking about maintaining your vehicles. Well, I started the Jeep up today and I found that the passenger side rear brake light was malfunctioning, so I had to go and get a new light bulb. And what do we all know about replacing these lights is you don't just replace one, you replace two. Because as soon as one goes out, the other one's bound to in a little bit. So there are 4 screws in these Jeep tail lights. You only want to do, or undo rather, the inner screws because the outer screws are holding together the trim panel a little bit. So you just take those apart and boom, out it pops. Okay? I'm going to put these screws in my pocket so I don't lose them, and I'm going to come back with the light bulbs. Here are the light bulbs. And I do believe is it the bottom or is it the top? I believe it's the top. Yep, it sure is the top. All right, I'll show you that in just a second. There we go. So look at that, it works. If you look real carefully on this side, you can see that it's pretty busted out. It's burnt. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace that one. And these are Sylvania's number 3157s. Okay. Since I had to go out to the hardware store to grab some metric screws for the teardrop, I figured I might as well stop at the auto parts store and grab these while I'm at it. I also grabbed the headlight lamp for the Ford Escape that we have for one of the teenage boys, and I just replaced that. That's the engine that you hear going. All right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and make sure that this is screwed on in. We're going to go with the inside one, not the outside, the inside one. You want to be careful not to tighten it too much. In other words, don't use a screw gun or something like that on here. This, you know. And with this, what I like to do, since this one isn't the one that's out, you can I will crack the plastic tail light, which you really don't want to do. Put it back in that package right there that just fell, and I'll save it just in case I have another one go out. And that way, more money than just a light bulb, because I keep a couple of tools in the Jeep as my daily driver. Okay. I will then be able to just hit it on the fly. And I literally just, if I get to a parking spot to begin with, because we're going to do that whole thing where we want to make sure that everything is kind of, I can just take a couple minutes to do this. Needed to be in before you tighten everything down. Right there. Boom. Okay. Once again, screws go in the pocket. Okay, top of the light for your turn signal. And on the back here, I don't know if you can see. You know what? I'm going to bring you closer. So this is how you change the tail light, okay? This is the top, I'm gonna show you. Okay, so that's the top, and this is the bottom, okay? That's the bottom, all right? This is the tail light and the brake light, okay? You just twist that right there. See that little arrow? I don't know if you can pick that out. That little arrow right there, it says lock, okay? You just twist that and it pops right out, just like that, okay? When this pops out of there, this is the one that's still working. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one back in this little package. And I'm gonna use the brand new one, just like I did on the other side, because that one was the one that was busted. And we're just gonna pop it right back in here. See that slot there? You just match the slot up with that right there. And you press it down, just like that, and it clicks. And then you set it right back down in the hole. Find your slots. There it is. Like that. See how, and then your arrow right there tells you which way to lock it. That's a clockwise. And that's locked in there. And that's it. You place it right back in up top. And that's your trim piece right there. All right, reach back in your pocket and grab one of your screws. That was only like, 10 seconds of weight. But for me, I made a trip out to the hardware store. I made a trip to the auto parts store. We had a little lunch, took a little break, and now we're back. So, when I went to the hardware store, I had to grab one of these little guys, a little 4mm. Match your holes up, make sure everything's nice and tidy. 4 metric number 4s to fit in the back of these holes, which did not coincide with the old regulator. So here we are. And that's why you don't use a screw, just kind of a powered screw gun work, because you never know how tight you're up. Accidentally get it. The holes. You don't want to crack vent is on the bottom. They're super expensive the holes to replace. And then we will put these in here, and it's just hand tight. Make sure it's nice and snug. Yep. See. And down. One more time up here, and we're good. And that's how you change brake light. Like that, maybe that'll work better. Oh yes, it does. Next, we'll have to get up underneath it, and then there's a hole here, and there's a hole on the other side that will match up with holes underneath this diamond plate in my little box here. maybe that'll work better. Oh, yes, it does. That's awesome. Here's the other pole. Just kind of start the threads. Let's see how we did. Just like that. Okay. Oh, we got one in. We didn't get the other in. Now the other two. Should match right up as well. Yeah, they do. Look at that. That's beautiful. Let's go ahead and get this end to start the thread. You know, if possible. Okay. One more. Oop, I want that. Okay. Try it again. And then we'll grab the screwdriver. All right, folks, we're back, and we are now going to tape the threads up on the line going back to the back of the kitchen. Just one or two wigs around will do, just like that. Put the cap back on that super fast so it doesn't roll away. All right, let's thread this back on into here. Reconnected here.